There was this great comment on my efficient market hypothesis video how Nvidia is perhaps the best value investment out there, because if the growth targets are reached, we'll have a P ratio of 7 in 2030. And that is absolutely correct. Plus, if they keep on growing 40% per year, the P ratio in 2030 will not be 7, will be at least 30, which is equal to the S&P 500, which means Nvidia offers a 4x potential. And we can see here the projections: 40% growth per year, 3 to 4 trillion, a trillion up, a trillion down, AI infrastructure spent by 2030, and just the growth there in everything, and Nvidia will benefit from it. Everything will be Nvidia ecosystem. The factories has been going on like that because Nvidia is destroying everybody else, and therefore even partnering with great companies like OpenAI, that's driving the growth, profitable growth, revenue, operating margins 52%, all great. Great cash flow generation that allows them to reinvest into that growth, and nothing to argue there. The stock has exploded over the last years and it still has room to go 4x to reach very high numbers. If we look at the numbers, huge growth, the current earnings per share 3.51. If I grow 3.51 at 40% over 5 years, I get to 18. If we push it just 1 year longer, I get to $26.4 per share. If I divide that with the current stock price, we are at a P ratio of just 7. Not 6, but 7. Still good. P ratio of 7, it's impossible for Nvidia. I think it will be like the market. And we can see here the current S&P 500 P ratio is 31. That's the minimum for Nvidia. With a P ratio of 30, we have a stock price 26 times 30. We are at a stock price of 792, which will for sure benefit your portfolio. And that is more than a 4x return. And I can't argue a P ratio of 7 in 2030 is definitely value. But when it comes to value investing, what's the first factor that we have to look at? That is always risk. Value investing equals risk first, only then reward. Can I lose money by investing in Nvidia? Or you can translate that to the key value investing question: what can possibly go wrong if I invest in Nvidia? Okay, 40% growth. Let's say it isn't 40, it's just 20%. Because this was 40, if I go to 20%, the P ratio is not 7, the P ratio down the road is 18, if it is 20%. Can Nvidia lose market share? It is impossible for now, but there are plenty of players out there, and Nvidia has just recently boomed. They are trying to scale everything, but with technology you never know. So perhaps not even 20% per year is not the biggest risk. Is that we grow 40% for the next 2 years and then we have a 2-year decline of 25% or zero growth. That changes everything, and the stock can quickly go down 70%. And the stock was very low just 3 years ago, so that's what, 95% down, so 70% down would not be a surprise. Of course, these are just projections. I hope everything turns out well, that we all benefit from AI, from Nvidia. They make money, you make money. However, it is unfortunately not value. Can you make a 4x? Absolutely, if the targets are met. And I think even the P ratio, if they just grow 1 year 40%, the P ratio will go from 30 to 50, and there you have another 50% in the next 12 months. That's the potential reward. The risk is 50, 60, 70% down. So the risk reward might even be positive. However, unfortunately, not value investing.